All right, we are back. Thank you for hanging with us as we had a little bit of technical difficulty. Dancer had to get some drivers and technology things figured out, but
Good
it
old
looks like he
technology.
has done that.
Yep.
And he is set to go. The lobby's set to go, so we're ready to jump on into game number 2, which is going to be on Overgrowth. Let me just verify that our players are ready. So first game pretty quick, a 3 hatch before pool from SpyderSlayer, which led to just a constant stream of lings across the map. Looks like Dancer, I mean, we were talking about it, it's just really hard on that map to defend against a lot of early units like that from a Zerg. And Dancer just wasn't ready for it, and he just overwhelmed him with numbers there. And our players are ready, so let's do this. Start game.
That's right. And so Dancer's got to come up with something a little bit different this time. We are going to be on Overgrowth, so a bigger map. That might give him a little bit more time to prepare if SpyderSlayer decides to do a large Ling attack again. But I'm kind of feeling like that's not going to happen.
No, SpyderSlayer definitely likes to change it up quite a bit, so I expect we'll see something different. I would, if I was to be a betting man, which I'm not, because usually when I say something, it's the exact opposite, but I would expect to see one of those early roach pushes like we saw yesterday from SpyderSlayer in this game.
Yeah, could happen.
Especially on this map.
What do you think, as a Protoss player, what do you think that that Dancer's going to be doing?
Yeah, if I was Dancer on this map, it's difficult. Honestly, I like the early Stargate Phoenix opening into Colossus and Robo. We haven't seen that in a while, and for a while we started kind of seeing it a little bit more frequently because it was kind of something that was around the end of Wings. But then it kind of came back for a little while, but now has gone away. But I think it's really effective, especially against the sort of aggressive styles of SpyderSlayer, since he likes to put on those Lings because you kind of just go right out, expand, build your wall, your gateway, your cybercore, your forge right into a wall, and you can kind of get it fortified a little bit and then kind of hold it down. But we will certainly see enough of the postulation and posturing, but let's get into this game on Overgrowth in the lower left-hand corner. It is our yellow carapace Zerg. His name is SpyderSlayer. Dancer pause. Well, we can still do introductions in the upper right-hand corner. Stopped in his tracks currently. The orange, I can't tell the color, it's paused, it's dark. Orange Protoss is Dancer.
It's a good thing that this isn't like a mirror matchup, too, because of the yellow and the orange. That's just very difficult to tell whose units are who in that situation.
So, I mean, as we were saying, I think we've seen a lot of builds out of both of these players. Definitely, you know, we saw yesterday, I believe it was Poison. You know, she did kind of the same build 3 games in a row, and that kind of ended up being a downfall because her opponent kind of sniffed that out and just kind of built against it. But both of these players are pretty high skilled. We've seen a lot of different builds on them, and I think we could see just about anything. Both are very aggressive scouters also. So we'll definitely be scouting, and we'll be making a build that is a reaction to what they see. But, you know, there's just a lot of standards openings in both Protoss and Zerg that we'll see. So I'm not sure exactly what's going on here. I see our admin guys talking to the players here. Shout out to the admins, Jeff and Tim. They have done a great job kicking League players off the SE2 computers this entire weekend.
Yep.
Yes.
All right, we are back in the game.
We are back.
So let's jump into the game view. All right.
It just started. Give me a second. Get our score set up here. It is SpyderSlayer 1-0 of Dancer currently. This is game number 2 on Overgrowth. So we've been talking a lot about what we will see. Now we will actually see what happens here. SpyderSlayer, like we said, aggressive scouter, sending out his drone quite early here. He wants to see exactly what Dancer's doing. And, you know, it's kind of a testament to exactly how good these players are. It's like, I don't feel comfortable sitting back and finding out what's going to happen until when it hits me. So definitely have to get out there. We've seen a lot of different scouting strategies over the course of this tournament, it seems like.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like there's some cases where people just don't scout at all. You know, we've seen that a few times as well, and kind of go for the later scouting, especially with observers. We've seen a lot of just observer scouting.
Yeah, honestly, that has been the strength of Protoss this weekend for sure. I believe, I don't know statistics, but I would say the lion's share of games won by Protoss this weekend were because they had observers all over the map and could see the exact movements of their opponent. We have not seen that from Dancer. He didn't really go Robo last game. He didn't really go anything. He just had a hard time even getting his economy going with the onslaught of SpyderSlayer. But looks like we're going to have a quick hatchery here from SpyderSlayer. Will we see the third hatchery and just kind of do the same thing again?
Right. Dancer's probe is heading across the map, so he will be able to scout out. Oh, he might even see this drone coming out.
Yeah, there is another drone headed out. And
yeah,
if I was to say, I don't see a rally point from him.
I'm not sure if I don't think
Looks
Dancer
like
actually saw it. I think that he had the potential to, but I think his vision was actually elsewhere.
This is certainly indication of a third hatchery here, and SpyderSlayer does have a drone here at Dancer's base, ready to prevent an expansion. But it looks like it's going to be Gateway first, up in the main base of Dancer. Actually, Gateway's already down. Zealot's producing Cybercore going down at the ramp. So far we're seeing the exact same thing out of both players. Dancer, I can't remember last game if he actually scouted the third hatch. I don't think he did. But he does know what's up this time.
Yeah, and he got into the base and he saw that there wasn't a pool yet, so he had a pretty good idea of what was happening.
So given what we see here, I would kind of expect I was going to kind of expect Dancer maybe not to expand and do something a little bit more aggressive, but it looks like he's just going to go ahead and put that Nexus down and just kind of play his game. Not going to let SpyderSlayer dictate how he's going to play his game. He said he's playing the best StarCraft of his life, so he's not going to be deterred by one bad game, and we will see if he changes anything up here to try and defend against the Lings of SpyderSlayer, because SpyderSlayer definitely, he is a Ling Muta type of guy.
Yeah, and that gas actually went down before the pool too, so he's going to have that speed real quick. It's looking very similar to what happened last time. The only difference I'd say is that Dancer is actually seeing it, because he does have that probe wandering around his base.
Speed is going down. I mean, you know, also you're up one game. Something worked for you really good in game number one. Why not try it again? If it works out again, then great. If it doesn't, well, then you can try something different in game number three. But so far, it looks like Dancer is going to be having a Zealot here and a Mothership Core heading out to see exactly what's going on. Although here is a big change. Dancer putting on these extra gateways much faster.
Yeah, 2 of them this time as well. Yep. No Forge yet, though.
Zealot is here at the third base of SpyderSlayer. He is not going to let any mining happen here, but I don't honestly think SpyderSlayer really intends to mine out of this hatchery anyway. He is just sending those Lings right across the map, and Dancer here definitely has his wall completed now. It does have a hole in it. Does not yet have a Zealot to fill that
there's
hole.
one running as fast as it can. There's another one that's kind of in the middle of the map, realizing when he saw this stream of Zerglings that he needed to get home. But now that this wall is complete, I think that he's feeling a little bit better, so that Zealot has, I guess he's turned back around and is heading back towards the wall. SpyderSlayer is continuing to kind of knock on those, but between the Mothership Core and the Photon Overcharge, he's not really getting through those shields.
Yeah, I think he's going to continue to make Lings here. As soon as speed's done, he's probably going to throw down a Baneling Nest and go for a bust on that wall and just keep on producing those Lings would be my guess here. He definitely is starting to make some drones out of this third base now. However, has not set the rally for it. Whoopsie.
Yeah. The Photon Overcharge is going to be wrapping up here fairly soon, though, and there is not enough energy on the Mothership Core to put down another one, so he could just be waiting for that.
There's a lot of sentries here, though. He needs to be really careful with these Lings. Yeah. That's about 5 force fields there, and could easily trap some of those Lings in there and kill quite a few with just the sentries. So Dancer has he has adjusted his game, and he has got this under control here for the moment. We'll see what SpyderSlayer ends up doing. Looks like he's going back to producing drones, queens, and all kinds of economic things. SpyderSlayer still continuing to poke, letting Dancer know that he's there. Mothership Core is being like, guys, I got this. Stay back.
Yeah, those Lings are just kind of getting free shots on, too, so.
As long as he doesn't lose too many, they do heal up relatively quickly. It's almost kind of like he was baiting the Mothership Core farther away, because as the Lings get hit, they kind of run away, and the Mothership Core kind of edges a little bit closer. But it looks like Layer going down now. Going to skip the Baneling Nest altogether here, it looks like. Ling's going to kind of swing around the backside, make sure Dancer doesn't put down any hidden expansions, because we did see that quite a bit yesterday. I believe 2 or 3 games we saw some hidden expansions that were completely mined out by the time they were seen. But SpyderSlayer going to go ahead and just kind of macro up here a bit, getting to the stage of the game that we did not reach last time because it was over by that point.
Dancer now is moving out with a small force. He's looking around. He's going to try and pick off this Overlord, and he's likely going to get the Lings are moving in, though, and all of these forces are backing up against the wall. Force fields are going down to try and protect the sentries and the Stalker and force the Lings up against the Zealots, and that worked out pretty well.
Yeah, that was really nice force fields there by Dancer. Did kind of trap his Stalker back there. but definitely kind of segregated out the Lings, and it looks like he's going to end up being able to kill all of those Lings.
Yeah, SpyderSlayer was trying to force down that Nexus, was not able to get it done. So now Dancer will be going up to 3 bases, and SpyderSlayer is going to have to decide what to do next.
SpyderSlayer now also going to be getting his ranged upgrades as well as roach speed.
He's
so
switching into roaches for sure.
Right back into roaches.
And he's getting an Overseer so he can get an idea of what his opponent is doing. And now we see that hallucinated Phoenix as well, so both are trying to just scout out, start to get their tech upgrades a little bit, and prepare for the next big onslaught. On Dancer's end, there is a Warp Prism being morphed in and a Twilight Council researching Blink.
So it looks like Roach is now in production for SpyderSlayer as Dancer is looking to make a move on the third base of SpyderSlayer, the largely undefended third base, and he sees that he's going to go ahead and pull the drones out of there. Does not want to lose this. There's not a ton of firepower here, as this is mostly sentries. So as long as these roaches get out, he should be able to do quite a bit of damage here. +1 attack is going to be done here shortly, as well as roach speed. Plus he's on creep, so Dancer's going to go ahead and realize that and pull back. There is a Warp Prism here as well.
Mothership Core is kind of hanging out by itself. Missed the cue to head on home, I think. And SpyderSlayer looks like he sees that. There's just not a whole lot that can shoot upwards at the moment, so there's not going to be a whole lot of danger for that. But it is quite out of position if you wanted to use it for any defense at home.
Right. But Dancer just went ahead and pulled all the way back. He just kind of wanted to get under SpyderSlayer's skin, let him know he's there, not let him just continue to do his own thing. But he is mining out these bases, getting them saturated. He's making a lot of Lings and a lot of roaches. Looks like 10 Lings and more roaches continue to be in production. Burrow and Tunneling Claws in production as well. So he wants to be able to circumvent those force fields, knowing how many sentries that Dancer has. Gonna come on up here. Observer does see the roaches, and he's got to be super careful here. He luckily is able to get all but 3 of those roaches out. So that could have been really bad if Dancer would have laid down those force fields a little bit faster and segregated about half of those roaches.
Yeah, and he kind of moved out there a little early poke because he didn't have all of his upgrades just yet. So a little bit preemptive, just trying to get an idea of where the army is at and get an idea of where the weak points are. So he's circling around now. He's going to try and bust into this third base.
Burrow is just about done here, as well as a Spire coming down. So he's going to follow this up with his trademark Mutalisk. And looks like this, this is really good for SpyderSlayer. He's coming into the third base, which is largely undefended as Dancer was starting to move out. He's going to be able to kill all of these probes, though he's going to have to be really careful as Dancer's coming back with all those force fields. These roaches are going to get completely trapped. But if he can take out this third base, that is going to be absolutely huge. Now he's got to be super careful if he wants to be able to get these roaches out of here.
Yeah, he's going to have to move them out, but I don't know if that's going to be working. These stalkers are hot on their tail, and they do have blink now, so he can aggressively move forward. There it is. Going to get a few more shots down. Yeah,
with roach speed, though, he is going to be able to get away. I honestly thought that Dancer was going to be able to get a few more force fields off there to be able to trap those roaches. But he is going to be able to pull back, but now this force of Dancer is moving out towards SpyderSlayer aggressively, and there are going to be some segregated roaches here, so those are going to go down relatively quickly. SpyderSlayer going to have to be really careful.
SpyderSlayer is going to be facing some more aggression on his fourth base, as there is that Warp Prism there that has been trying to do some harassment, and now the bulk of Dancer's army is going to be moving in, so all of the drones are getting pulled. That is clearly just going to be sacrificed.
Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. The Zerglings trying to get into the natural expansion here are not going to be able to get it done, as there is a Zealot blocking it. Was just going to go ahead and sacrifice the fourth base. I'm not sure if he's actually paying attention to these Lings. He needs to take that Immortal. He does separate some of the Lings to be able to do that. A huge line of probes going to die here for Dancer. But what does SpyderSlayer have at home to defend this push? But he does have some Mutalisk, but these Blink Stalkers are going to be absolutely brutal. The army supply of Dancer getting to be quite large, especially with these Blink Stalkers.
Yeah, and he's not really losing a whole lot of units, but he is losing a lot of probes back home, and that is going to make a big deal as the game progresses. It is currently 67 drones to 51 probes.
Yeah, this is looking pretty scary here for SpyderSlayer. He doesn't really have much here to defend this. He's got a few Spine Crawlers, but doesn't have much army. The Mutalisk is not going to be all that useful against this Blink Stalker army.
Yeah, so this army is continuing to move in. There was a small number of units at the front gate of Dancer, but we're not able to get in due to sentries, and those Mutalisks are just running right across the field. He's going to try and do a base race with those.
Yeah, this is going to be a little bit tricky. He's making as many Mutalisks as he possibly can, more and more spine crawlers. He's really defending up this third base over here. Look at all the spine crawlers. But he did get all those drones out, whereas on the other side of the map, Dancer did lose all of his workers. So and technically he's losing his workers, but they're turning into defensive units.
In the main, though, he did burrow all of those drones, so they are still alive. They're just not mining, and I don't think there's any detection.
Yeah, this is going to be turning into an interesting little bit here as these Mutalisks are going up against some Stalkers in the main base. Taking a few Mutalisks losses, they do heal up relatively quickly. The Stalkers do end up going down. So Dancer now having nothing left in his main base to be able to defend against these Mutalisks. He's going to lose all of his probes here as well. Ooh, the Spine Crawler numbers are too damn high here at the third base of Spider Crawler, not wanting to quite get in and engage those just yet. SpyderSlayer, though, has one of his hatcheries, and just kind of using those Spine Crawlers defensively to sort of block off that attack path there. Now, Dancer going to go and take out these rocks to avoid having to walk all the way around with the Blink Stalkers.
Yep. But they do have a couple of sentries there, too, and those could come in real handy.
SpyderSlayer now going to be getting a little bit risky here with some of these Mutalisks, taking on some Stalkers back in the main base of Dancer. Once again, he's got to be very careful with the numbers he's got, as he does not want to lose too many, as his production is down to about nothing right now. But he is taking out quite a number of Stalkers with these Mutalisks.
Yeah, and these Stalker army with sentries are able to just completely bypass this Spine Crawler wall. SpyderSlayer has not uprooted it and repositioned it at all, so now there is nothing to stand between these Stalkers and this last base for SpyderSlayer. The drones burrow to protect themselves, but really there's just no more hatcheries on the map for SpyderSlayer.
Yeah, but looking at the map, there are not going to be many more probes on the map for Dancer either, so pretty much what he has is what he's going to have. So now he needs to start being very, very careful with these Mutalisks. Let them heal up before he takes any more engagements with these Stalkers. He did end up going back, so SpyderSlayer has a huge freaking bank.
He does have a lot of money.
So that is definitely an advantage, whereas Dancer has almost nothing. So if SpyderSlayer can protect this little clump of Spine Crawlers here and build up some things, he did unburrow the drones from his main base and is now moving them back down. I suspect he's going to start making maybe a bit of a hatchery wall here in front of the Spine Crawlers, but no, he's just going to actually build a hatchery down at his original third. So if I was to be a betting man, again, as I've said this, he has quite a number of Mutalisks, so he can continue to harass Dancer and pull him in all different directions. Oh, but the Stalkers are...
Oh, no, no. So the blink, and so many Mutalisks are dying, and that's the GG. Wow, all right.
GG's, all right, so this is going to go into a game number 3. I thought SpyderSlayer was sitting pretty good there, but flying those Mutalisks over those Stalkers, not such a good thing. He did have a big bank. He could have kind of gone back and rebuild and maybe strategically use those Spine Crawlers to keep that force back while he built up some Roaches or Lings or just about anything.
Yeah, I mean, he did have a lot of drones that were left, but he didn't have any bases, so they couldn't mine. Yeah. And he did have the hatcheries going down, but without the Mutalisks being able to move around the map, he just wasn't going to have the kind of firepower that he would need to distract the army away. And Dancer really didn't have a whole lot of probes left on the map, but he did have those Nexi. He's able to continue to produce probes, and so I think that that was probably the right call by SpyderSlayer. I don't think that that was going to be a winning battle.
Yeah, I'm looking back at the units right now, and Dancer did have only 8 probes left, so he wasn't going to be making anything else, but he did have a pretty sizable army as it was.
Yeah.
So we're going to go to a score of 1-1, which means we're going to have a game number 3 coming up here very shortly. I think there should not be any tech problems this time, so we should be back here
cross our
in
fingers.
Just a couple of minutes with the next match. So hang on and stay with us. All right, we are back with the quickness this time. The lobby is set up. The players are all ready. They're ready to jump on into game number 3 and continue this epic battle we've had. First game, SpyderSlayer came out with huge Ling aggression, just a wave of Lings across the map. It took Dancer out relatively quickly. Second game, SpyderSlayer tried the same exact thing, but Dancer read it and was able to block it off and defended himself quite well, and then very aggressive with Blink Stalkers and just kind of put the hat on SpyderSlayer. Now we're going to go into game number 3 and see what happens once again between these two players. Make sure they are all set.
That's right, and both of these players need to win this game in order to stay alive in this tournament. So it's all on the line now. They've got to bring out their best builds. They've got to be at their most controlled if they want to pull this together.
Absolutely. Both players have an equal chance of winning this game, in my book. You know, we've kind of been watching them throughout the tournament. Both very skilled, about the same rank for whatever weight that holds. Sometimes not a lot, depending on the day. So we'll see who can. Oh, this is actually going to be a Deadwing. So it's going to be a 4-player map, a little bit harder to scout.
Absolutely.
I think that definitely was to the advantage of both players in the last 2 games. 2-player maps, easy to scout, easy to tell what your opponent is going to be up to. But here, as we jump into Deadwing, it is going to be game number 3, and in the upper right-hand corner, we have the yellow Zerg tied 1-1 with his opponent. It is SpyderSlayer.
And in the bottom right-hand corner, the Protoss player able to take the game number 2 from his opponent. Will he take the game number 3? It is Dancer.
Question is, will we see any dancing?
Maybe if Dancer wins, he will dance.
You would certainly hope so.
I would not be surprised at all.
Oh, we need to have some game sounds here. So, what do you think Dancer's gonna pull out of his hat here?
You know, I don't know if he's gonna do the same thing or if he's gonna do something a little bit risky. My money's on he's gonna try and do a similar build as he's been doing. This kind of 3 gates robo, you know, hold off that early Ling aggression, kind of prepare for that.
He seems to definitely like that sort of build, as we've seen him use that quite a lot this weekend. And honestly, if you're going to do anything crazy, this would be the time because of the scouting distance. But look at the spider sense of SpyderSlayer. He is scouting right across the map, and he's going to know where his opponent is and what's going on. So that is going to be pretty easy for him to read, as his scouting time is not delayed at all from the last 2 games. So he's going to know exactly what Dancer is going to be doing. Dancer looks like it's hard to tell exactly where he's headed. It looks like he's headed to the correct location for SpyderSlayer as well.
So any of that scouting advantage potentially has been dissipated by their early good hunches.
Yep, and SpyderSlayer going for the quick hatchery here, so it looks like he's going to be doing a similar build once again. See if he goes all full Monty in this and goes for the whole thing, but Dancer is as well going to pick the location of his opponent and be able to see exactly what he's doing going up into the main base. He is not going to see a pool. He's not going to see a gas, and he's going to see a second drone headed out. But the jig is up because the second drone is already at the 3rd base, so it looks like SpyderSlayer is going to be doing the same exact build again. It worked one time, failed another time, so if you're going by odds, the 3rd time it should work, right?
I mean, it depends on those odds, right? Because if it's a 50-50, then it's just a coin flip.
Mr. Statistics over here.
Stats.
Well, you know, 63% of all statistics are made up on the spot, right?
According to you, apparently. So there are those 3 hatcheries going down. The gas has gone down. Still waiting on that pool. He's still trying to mine those resources, and there it goes.
And Dancer did see that 3rd hatchery, too, so he knows exactly what's up. But SpyderSlayer trying to block that Nexus once again as per last game. So we're seeing the same exact build out of both players so far. That Zealot coming down to fend off the drone of SpyderSlayer. If I was to say, I would say that Dancer, now seeing what he has seen, will be building his wall quite quickly here to be able to defend against the sort of impending impending Ling flood by SpyderSlayer.
Yep, they are definitely going to be coming. It looks like there was a probe on the left-hand side of the map that kind of parked itself right underneath an Overlord. So SpyderSlayer does have a drone chasing that around. And he did go back in with another drone into the main base just to see what was going on. And does see that there's a that cybernetics core. He did not. Oh, he did see that there's that warp gate going down, or that gateway rather, in the front there, and that wall is continuing to be built off.
Yeah, I don't think that's anything too crazy. The sling speed is now on the way, although SpyderSlayer has pulled all of the drones from the gas here. Usually if he leaves one in gas, that will mean he's going to have an eventual baneling nest, but that is not going to be the case as he is not mining any more gas. He has speed on the way, so it looks like he's going to be going with this quick ling aggression here. He's getting a queen on his second base and largely just going to be using the third as a distant macro hatch here, at least in the early stage of the game. So, I mean, you know, we're kind of seeing the setup that did not work out so well for him last game. Wondering what his plan is here because both of these players are very intelligent players and they've scouted out each other well. So I know Spiders. Huh? Oh, looks like we've got a bit of an issue here. I'm gonna have to pause. I can't pause the game. SpyderSlayer is up walking around. Looks like the power on his PC ended up getting pulled. So.
Oh, geez.
Yeah, right. So we're gonna. I can't.
We gotta restart the match.
Okay. We're gonna go on a quick break here. While we figure this out, there's not gonna be much going on because SpyderSlayer is currently not his PC. It is off. Dancer, however, he is playing quite.
So this is gonna be a very interesting turn of events here for Dancer.
I was looking forward to seeing. But anyways. While we get this figured out, tech problems are hard.
Yes.
It's like the power cord had an issue on SpyderSlayer's machine, so he is going to be fixing that, getting his machine back up here. So we will be taking a quick break here while we get that sorted out, and we'll be right back.
Yep.